Thank you. So all 25 of us went quietly in. We all went in at different times. We went through security at different times. And we positioned ourselves at different places inside of Trump Tower. And at the given moment, bedlam broke loose. And we started our chants and our cheers. No ban, no raids, no walls, no ban, no raids, no walls. And we took Trump Tower over. The police came pouring in. And people went pouring out because they closed it. With Melania upstairs, we found out later. We closed that place down, and we knew we were going to get arrested. For me, I was a virgin at being arrested at the age of 59. I was with people who, by the age of 65 and 70, had rap sheets that put me to shame, being arrested on ACT UP lines and no nuke rallies. It was amazing to see this. There were 19 women and 6 men in that rise and resist action. 19 women, because don't we all know that those are the people that are going to turn this whole thing around and save us eventually, the women in the world. We know that. They handcuffed us, they took us out to the paddy wagons, and while I had those hands clenched behind my back, I started reminiscing of what got me into this position of advocating so strongly for refugees and immigrants. It was the 4th car bomb in 4 nights, and Lima was reeling. It's 1989, and and Peru, the country of Peru, had just entered its 9th year of a really despicable, dirty war with terrorists by the name of the Shining Path, Sendero Luminoso. They were blowing up things, they were causing havoc, and people from all the provinces were coming into Lima, the capital city. I had gotten to the country 5 years previously as a member of a Catholic monastery of religious teaching monks who went there to do social justice and human rights work in an orphanage. So there I am doing this work, learning very quickly as I'm advocating for the people there to keep my mouth shut, to keep my ears open, to know I am not there to tell people what to do. I am there to learn and to accompany. And that's where I got my best schooling. The first job they gave me was my favorite job. I loved it. I was in charge of the youth group in this little village up in the hills in a little shanty town called Pamplona Alta, High Plains. And I get up there and I'm taking care of this youth group, and these kids who had seen so much misery and so much violence were just so eyes open to what the world could be. And I wanted to learn from them. One girl still comes to mind that sticks with me every day now. It was a girl by the name of Lucha. Lucha was 15 years old. She had come from the province of Ayacucho. She had seen both her mother and her father killed by terrorists and had come to the capital city with her aunt for a somewhat better life. So she was going to make a move, and she was driven. She was going to leave this place a better place than she found it. And I knew she was going to do that. One of the first activities I did with these students was say, why don't we find out about each other from where our names came from? And of course, Lucha raised her hand first and said, I want to go first. She said, my name Lucha is short for Luz. Even though Luz and Luisa is shorter, Lucha comes from that. And Luz means light, and my mother would tell me I am the light of her world, so she called me Luz. But I'd like to think at the age of 15, my nickname Lucha really fits me now, because the word lucha in Spanish means fight, like viva la lucha. So she said, I'd like to believe that, and I did believe that about her as well. About the time of these car bombs, Lucha approaches me at the end of one day, and she had this very sheepish look on her face. And she said, Hermano, I have a favor to ask. My aunt has finally gotten a little bit of money together to have a quinceañera, a sweet 16 party for me. And I would be honored to have your presence, hermano, in this festival. And I said, on the contrary, Lucha, I would be honored to be invited. I will definitely be there this next Sunday to join you in this big celebration. She beamed. She just came to life. She gave me this big abrazo. And she said, hermano, that's the reason I love being in your class. When I'm with you, I could be just who I am. I don't have to put on any masks. I don't have to put on any pretend people inside of me. I can just be who I am. And I thanked her, and I walked away, and my jaw dropped. And I said, Richard, you are the biggest hypocrite in the world. See, I was carrying another secret around. The reason I had joined the monastery, and probably the reason I had asked to go to Peru in the first place, was because I was hiding the fact that I was a gay man. And I was so far in that closet that I couldn't live with that fact. And I was going to do nothing to jeopardize that vow of celibacy that I took. So I felt I was living this hypocritical life. I know the kookiness of it now doesn't escape me. With all the scandals in the Catholic Church, I'm just left scratching my head. So I'm saying, what, was I the only one following that goddamn vow of celibacy? What's going on? So to keep myself more preoccupied, i.e. more repressed, I asked my superiors for tougher work and if I could take some college-level courses in liberation theology while I was in Peru. They said yes. So every 3 days, I'd get on the bus, I'd go to the Catholic University, and I'd take my classes on liberation theology. My gaydar must have been a little bit more developed than I thought, because it was one group of guys, and I tried to guys that never played fulbito. I would try to listen to their conversations, and sure enough, one day, I hear, yeah, this new place opened up on Benavides. It's for los entendidos. We're going to go there sometime. Entendidos. Let me explain a little bit about entendidos. That word in Spanish literally means in the know. Lima was more repressed than I was, and that was going some. It was still illegal to be gay in Peru. Entendidos means those in the know. So they were saying, yeah, you go knock on that door 2 times. They open up a little window, and you say, yo soy entendido, and we're in. Let's meet there 11 o'clock on Saturday night. I was determined to vicariously live my first gay experience in my life at the age of 28 by following them that night into that bar. The night comes, I get outside the monastery, I hide my habit. Not too much disco clothing, but I was doing the best I could. And I did the walk up the hill of Benavides to go to this new gay disco. And about a mile away, I hear, boom, coche bomba. The lights flickered, blackout. I immediately went to a public park and hid out in a tool shed there, because the rule of law was, once there's a blackout, the police and the military shoot to kill. I spent the night there. I'm hearing ambulances go by, fire trucks go by, police go by, the army go by, helicopters overhead, and I have not a clue where this bomb went off. The morning comes. I clean myself off a little. I walk back to the monastery. I change, and after morning prayer, I get ready to go to Lucha's quinceañera. And I get on the bus, and about halfway up the hill to Pamplona Alta was when the ugly realization hit me that that bomb went off in Pamplona Alta. And then I learned the even uglier news that Lucha, her mother, and 14 people were killed by that bomb and that terrorist blast. And I cried, I wept, I fell apart. And I realized the even uglier irony was now I was not attending her quinceañera. I was going to attend her velorio, her wake. It would be about another 10 years before I finally left the monastery and came out as a proud gay man and tried to live my life honestly and not be the hypocrite and still come to the defense of those that didn't have what I had. And I had to try to learn how to keeping my mouth shut but still make a lot of noise. And I learned how to do that. And that brought me back to being handcuffed in that paddy wagon with my partner Mary Ellen right next to me. And it just got me thinking again of all of these things. I also thought of my 4 grandparents, all 4 coming onto Ellis Island from Italy as immigrants who wanted a better life for their children. So they stopped at this place with the Statue of Liberty to get a better life for children. And now, about 6 months later, I can think of this courageous woman who went to the Statue of Liberty to defend the better life of children. And I'm so proud to know that kind of courage. And anytime I think of all of those times, even in that paddy wagon, I think of Lucha. And I think of what she taught me. Whenever there's a struggle, always move towards the light, lose. And always move towards the fight, Lucha. Thank you.